Fellas, we are here today. Some pretty interesting news. Get some music going. Oh, truly a league favorite right here, my boy. But anyway, let's get on topic today. As you can see, this is our current team. We got Zera Aura, Ronzong, Roserade, Comfey, Miltank, Gengar, Mag, Liepard, who we just recently got last week. This week's the first week we can use it. Garchomp, Blastoise. Let's kind of see where this is going. The team has been doing good. We're undefeated in record. We're undefeated in stats and record, but in my mind, we're 5-2. That's how I see it. We're 5-2. And if you look at my team, they're all pretty we're halfway through the season, and the only Pokemon on my team with double-digit deaths is Roserade. So by no means are we having like a bad season, but I was talking to Mnez last week. We were talking about player-to-player trades, and you can see where this is going. And there's two Pokemon I never use in my team. I never use the Hariyama Liepard spot, which is why I traded Hariyama for Liepard, so we'll see where that goes. And I never use Comfey. Comfey I thought was going to be a lot more integral in my team this season. I thought it was going to allow Blastoise to not be rapid spinning every week, but in most matchups, the rest of my team just kind of performs better than Comfey would. So it's that then leaves Blastoise to be my only rapid spinner, which means I can't bring him Shell Smash. So it's really tough. It's really tough. Comfey had one really good matchup in the Tanner's team because O-code both his Paradox Mons at the time and Roaring Moon and Iron Valiant, and then did 50% to an uninvested Slitherwing. But yeah. Going into the rest of my games and potentially into playoffs in the championship, which this video may or may not be posted before the one that's going on the official Big Juice channel I did with Chris and Preston, but I can't, as much as I would like Comfey for certain matchups moving into the postseason, I don't think it's as reliable as something else. Going. Maybe not, but me and Mnez, we came to an agreement. We will be trading Comfey for Weezing. So, goodbye, Comfey. You did as good one week. Basically, Comfey just reverse Bozo checked Tanner, which was what I like to see. Last season, he destroyed me in the regular season. This season, I won't say I destroyed him, but it shut down his Sentinel Prime, which is one of his biggest threats on his team. So I'll take it. Yeah, Comfey. I wouldn't say it was bad, but I mean, Comfey went 2-0 on my team. It did its thing, and it did it well. But I don't really need it. So Comfey, this is a mutual thing. Mnez will probably use you a lot more, and maybe have some cooler sets than I did. I just brought you Life Orb, Max Attack, Modest. But yeah, Comfey is no longer on the team. Instead, we will be gaining his Weezing Galar. And for me, I like that. I like that a lot, and I'll explain why. So Weezing, we'll name him. Can we put a hashtag? We'll just name him Packwatch. I like that. Packwatch. Packwatch is good because it gives me another Levitate user. Bronzong and Weezing have really good synergy, sort of. Weezing's weak to Steel, Bronzong resist it. Weezing is weak to Psychic, which Bronzong 4 times resists. Really, the only thing is Fire. That Weezing doesn't really cover, but you can physically offensive Fire. He's pretty physically defensive, so you can kind of eat it. But again, we have Blastoise, we have Mortar, we have defensive Garchomp, and we have Miltank. So I'm not worried about that. But moving into the rest of my team, sort of see an issue here. I now have 3 poison types, and I've been bringing Roseheart and Gengar to most games, so assuming that I'm going to use this defensive core of Miltank, Weezing, and Bronzong, it basically says Roseheart or Gengar is like never coming to a game again, or one or the other, which I don't like. I like both of them. I do. And I had to really think for my team what is best, and this comes to no surprise to no one, but Roseheart is doing a lot better. I'm using it a lot better. Gengar, like, as much as I love Gengar, and as much of a season he's been having, like he's been having a really good season, we have to part ways. It's the same thing with Comfey. You both did me great. You didn't let me down, but for the sake of the betterment of the team, we need to drop Gengar. Which then leads me to what do I need? To explain my reasoning, go back to the draft. So if you go back to the draft, pull up my team, you will see that Gengar is my only tier 2. Garchomp's tier 1, Roseheart, Comfey are tier 3, and Magmortar's are tier 4. So Gengar's my only tier 2, so I have to replace Gengar with another tier 2. And so that was kind of like annoying. It's like, not that, like, even, I don't know. I thought that there was some Pokemon in lower tiers that could have suited my team better, but with the tier 2 restriction in place, I had to start looking. I had a lot of there's a lot of things I was thinking. I was thinking of like a bulky dark type like Bisharp, Alolan Muck, or Hydreigon, or even Crocodile. But now that I have Liepard, I don't really need, like, while Liepard's not bulky, it's a dark type. Like, getting Liepard like kind of fucked me on that end a little bit. I don't know why, but I think Liepard will still be good. So it's like, okay, I can't get a dark type. Basically, it does Liepard's job. So that gives me like a dead weight on my team again. So I don't want dead weight on my team. Like, if you look at my team last season, I really had no dead weight on my team. Like, I used everyone pretty significantly. So yeah, I don't like when I have dead weight on my roster. I think having dead weight on a team is like literally the worst thing you could ever do. And that's the thing. In my mind, I had 2 slots on my team that was dead weight. And another thing was, in my mind, I'm 5-2. So for me, going into the second half of the season, I need to think about it in playoffs because my postseason record's 1-2. Season 1, I lost in semifinals to JC. Last season, I beat Tanner in semifinals, and then I lost to JC in finals. So I lost to MNAS in finals. So I don't have the best postseason. I want to give myself a really solid team moving into that postseason. So for me, getting rid of a glaring psychic weakness on my team is important. So Gengar had to go. So I had a lot of things. I just talked about like bulky dark types. I was looking at a lot. And ultimately there's 2 Pokemon that I narrowed it down to. Oh, I should have done that. Fuck. Well, let's hope New doesn't watch the video. It's too late now. Fuck it. There's 2 Pokemon I narrowed it down to, and that was Frostlass and Tornadus Incarnate. So let's talk about my reason again. Frostlass gives me the same exact speed tier as Gengar, preserves the Ghost type, hell, even preserves the ability of Gengar. The only difference being that Frostlass has a lot more utility than Gengar. Even though Gengar got Toxic Spikes this generation, Frostlass gives me Spikes. It's basically like a slightly worse Gengar, but it's an Ice typing instead of Poison typing. And it's a lot weaker. Granted, it can go physical because it has Triple Axle and Poltergeist, but it's a lot weaker than Gengar. But it preserves the speed, Ghost type that I like. Gives me a spike, another Spikes user, because again, I thought Spikes were going to be a lot more important in my team this season. But Garchomp only brought it 1 week, and that was against Blue, and then Roseheart kind of brought it here and there, but I thought maybe giving my team a more utility-based thing, because I don't know how true this is, but in my mind, I think moving forward, my team's going to rely a lot more on my defense and my offense, because so far, my team's been pretty, like, bulky offensive, which is kind of the thing, but never had, like, a designated wall, you know what I mean? Like, I never had, like, Bronzong and Miltank are my only two, and, like, I think adding Weezing will help a lot, so I think I'm going to rely on those three a lot more moving into the second half of the season. We'll see. But I wanted to allow my team to just focus more around the Zeraora, the Blastoise, if I decide to bring them offensive, the Garchomp, the Roserade, the Magmortar even. So I was thinking, like, what hits that niche? And these are the two I came down to. So Frostlass is essentially just a toned down version of Gengar, but a lot more good utility. And the second one was Tornadus-Eye. I told Chase to get Tornadus-Eye going into the season to the Whimsicott, and he just didn't like it. That's all there is to it. He didn't like it, so he dropped it. And he just went back to Ultimate, which is whatever. But in my mind, I like Tornai a lot, so let's go over it. So if we go to Gengar, he's 1 point faster than Gengar and Frostlass at 111, which is cool. So I preserved my speed. Another reason I wanted a Ghost type was because 1, Ghost is good offensive typing, and 2, gives Miltank an immunity. Tornadus gives me a resistance, but then it gives me an electric weakness, but I have Zeraora, which is Volt Absorb, and I have Garchomp and Terra, so I'm not too worried about the electric weakness. I'm sure Weezing and Bronzong can also eat the hits fine, as long as it's not like a super hard hit, you know what I mean? So Torn still gives me that like resistance for Miltank that I like. It's faster than them, and he has similar strengths. He's 5 points weaker on the special attack, but he can also be a mix attacker. Like, he has Prankster as well and Defiant. So Defiant I can use more if I got Torn, because I have Prankster on Liepard. So it can actually give me a reason to be like an anti-hazard removal on Torn. Because if you want to defog, that's fine. You're giving him Swords Dance. So, as you can see, just in the way I've been talking about them, Westside Grafaiai are going to be dropping Gengar for Tornadus-Eye. And I'll just keep going on. But Torn, the biggest thing on my team this season is my team is pretty slow. Let me do this. Copy. Import. Copy. New box. Hold on, this is scuffed. I should have had this set up already. This is fucked up. We are scrolling all the way down here, fellas. We're going the depths of hell of Season 2. Keep scrolling. Keep scrolling. Alright. So, if we compare my team from this season to last season, my team last season was just ridiculously fast. I had Dragapult at 142 and Fernape 108. Diego at 115, 100 on Shane. Like, last season, I hit my speed tiers, like, perfectly. I had a high 140, 108, 115, 100, 91. Like, I had the speed tiers down perfectly, and I loved it. This season, I had, like, 142, or 143 on Zeraora. Then I had 102 on Garchomp, which is a pretty big drop-off. And then the rest is, like, 100 and below. So, my speed tiers weren't as good. So, for me, preserving the speed tier that Gengar kind of had was important on my team. But with Torn, Prankster Tailwind comes into play. It allows things like Roserade and Magmortar and Garchomp and Blastoise even to really just get their damage off without having to worry about being outsped, which is really, really important to me. So yeah, Torn is really solid. In that sense, also, again, Liepard has Prankster, so does Torn, so I can run Defiant on Torn if I really need to. Not that I'd ever use Unburden or Limber on my part, so yeah. Also, another thing that Torn does really well is Prankster Defog. Comfey was like, the main reason I got Comfey was to just have the secondary hazard removal. The Blastoise wouldn't be pressured into that, but Blastoise has been kind of doing that job, so it's like, what if I gave him a better support to do that job for him, to allow him to be more offensive if I need him to be. And having Prankster Defog does that. Just have Boots on him, and I can just hit everything. And then on my last turn I'm out, I Prankster Defog, I Prankster Tailwind, I bring something else out, and I'm just hitting. Like, Torn, I felt like, was the best thing my team could use after the drop of Gengar. And I think my new team will do really, really well. As you can see now, it is Monday at 1:15, so in about like 12 hours, the second it hits midnight, I'm announcing this trade. Me and Mez already decided on this last week. Talked to him today. He still agrees with the trade, so we'll be dropping Comfey for Weezing, do a mutual trade with Mez, and then I will be using my last free agency trade of the season and get rid of Gengar for Tornado Sai. How do I feel about my new team? I'm excited. I'm excited. Again, Comfey and Gengar, they were really, Comfey not as much, but Gengar was like a very crucial member of my team, and I really had to weigh out. Like, I looked at every mon in Tier 2 and weighed them completely. I looked at everything. I looked at everything. And it really came down to Frostlass or Torn. Frostlass, Tier 2 for me, I don't agree. I think Frostlass in Tier 3 would be sick. I think Frostlass in Tier 3 is actually draftable. Tier 2, a little too expensive. But even then, the situation I was in, I had to consider it because of just the fact that I needed that for my team. But at the end of the day, Torn is what we needed. And yeah. My dog's going crazy, so I'm gonna get out of here. This is the new West Side Defy. Hopefully, keep our perfect season. And yeah, hopefully, team is good.